After softening for 2 full days, tonight, Donald Trump says he might be hardening again. He actually said that he's not sure if he's softening or hardening. Now, I know this sounds crazy, and I know some of you think I'm making this up, and so I give you Mr. Donald J. Trump on what was supposed to be day 3 of the softening, talking about the softening and the hardening.
We're going to have borders, very strong borders. And after that, we're going to see what happens. But we are going to find people, and we're getting immediately, and I mean first hour of the first document I will sign will say, get the bad ones out of this country, bring them back where they came from.
But I know, I got to follow up. You said on Hannah, you used the word softening. Even last night on Hannah, you talked about.
Well, I don't think it's a softening. I think it's.
But 11 million people are no longer going to be deported.
I've had people say it's a hardening.
Joining us now, David Corn, the Washington bureau chief for Mother Jones, and an MSNBC political analyst, and Ben Shapiro, former editor-at-large for Breitbart News and editor-in-chief of the Daily Wire. Ben, what is this? Softening or hardening?
Well, I mean, if he can't tell after 4 hours, he ought to call his doctor. But it's confusing, to say the least. I'm not sure that he has a real position on immigration. My recommendation is that he should stop talking about immigration until he can figure out what the hell is going on.
So, David Corn, we now know very clearly why this immigration speech, which was supposed to be today, was canceled a few days ago. He has no idea where he is on this subject.
I know, it's very fun to make jokes, and I had a 4-hour joke too, Ben. You beat me to the punch there.
Well, good, I always do.
But I think the larger point to the hardening or softening question, Lawrence, is that I don't think Donald Trump ultimately is interested in very much other than Donald Trump. Look at any of his policy positions across the board, they basically aren't there, or he'll just say, I'm going to do this thing without telling you how he's going to do it. He is decidedly uninterested in policy. If you look at the speech he gave today, calling, Hillary Clinton basically a mobster, there's no policy elements or components to it at all. The only policy element that he really seems to care about and that he's been consistent about is the wall. Everything else is whatever Trump thinks at the moment.
Now, the softening came from the notion that he wasn't going to do a mass deportation of 11 million people.
Right.
Then tonight, when he was talking to Anderson Cooper, he said that those people have to leave the country in order to then apply to come into the country legally. So that sounds like they all have to leave. But Ben, maybe it means he's not going to force them to leave, which would basically leave us in policy terms exactly where we are now.
Well, I mean, what he's talking about now is what he was originally proposing, touchback amnesty. So both of them are what he originally would have called amnesty. One is just regular amnesty without shipping people out, and one is touchback amnesty where they're shipped back in. But, I mean, honest to God, his position changes moment to moment. It's like shaking a magic 8-ball. If you don't like this answer, then you can get another one in a couple of minutes. The man has more positions than the Kama Sutra. I'm not sure how much it hurts him in the end, just because he's got a solid base of support among people who really love him and they're willing to move with him. He's hoping that if he shifts to the middle, that people will move with him. I'm highly doubtful that's the case.
This is not as much of a shift as a jiggle, because you don't know where he's going to come down on this position with his speech. And, throughout the campaign, talking about the wall and sort of tying it to massive deportation, which is what he referred to again and again, particularly when he was trying to trounce Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio, was the heart of the campaign that got him going, that got him up in the polls. And without massive deportation, Trump is like a roast beef sandwich without the roast beef.
Yeah, he made fun of every candidate, which was all of them, who were not in favor of the mass deportation. Let's listen to this quick 12 seconds where Donald Trump talks about just how many people we might be talking about here. He's got a wildly new variable estimate for how many people might be here illegally. Let's listen to this.
It's a process. You can't take 11 at one time and just say, boom, you're gone. We have to find where these people are. Most people don't even know where they are. Nobody even knows if it's 11.
So it's still possible.
It could be 30 and it could be 5. Nobody knows what the number is.
So, Ben, the guy who's claiming that the country is being invaded and overrun by these people is now dropping the estimate down to possibly only 5 million of them here.
Yeah, I mean, I know where he's getting the 30. He's getting the 30 from Ann Coulter's estimate in her book Adios America, where she looks at a McKinsey study where they estimate the number of illegal immigrants at far higher than the census figures. I don't know where he's getting 5 from, but again, I'm not sure that he has any, not sure. I don't think he has any deep knowledge of any of the issues. So I think that he's making policy up as he goes, and there's a reason they postponed his speech until next week, until his team can figure out what they want to say. He's floating a trial balloon every day and seeing which ones pop.
Ben Shapiro and David Corn, thanks very much for joining us tonight.
Sure.